Hello fight fans, thanks for joining us at MMA Insider. Before we get rolling with today's news, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing. Now let's uncover the latest happenings in MMA. Starting off, Jiri Prochazka's team says middleweight move is under consideration after UFC 303. Moving on, Dricus Du Plessis doesn't want Khamzat Chimaev mentioned in future UFC middleweight title talks. Next, Daniel Cormier advises Jon Jones to call out Alex Pereira after beating Stipe Miocic. Moving on, top UFC events by gate revenue. McGregor dominates, Pereira makes waves. Lastly, Jon Jones announces MMA return at Madison Square Garden on November 9th. Former UFC light heavyweight champion Jiri Prochazka has a slew of options on the table after his second loss to Alex Pereira. Prochazka lost to Pereira's in a short-notice main event booking at UFC 303 last Saturday in Las Vegas. After a win at UFC 300, Prochazka got another light heavyweight title shot on weeks' notice but fell short by head kick knockout. Prochazka's second defeat to Pereira comes just 7 months after falling to him for the then-vacant title at UFC 295. He defeated Aleksandar Rakic in a come-from-behind win at UFC 300. After 2 losses to Pereira, Prochazka is on the outside looking in on the light heavyweight title picture. He's previously teased a future run at 185 pounds, and according to his coach, he's now seriously considering a new chapter. During a recent interview, Prochazka's head coach Martin weighed in on a possible move to the middleweight division. Here is what he said. Personally speaking, I see middleweight as a potential restart and a positive step. He is also still at an age where he can cut weight to 185 relatively well. We will definitely talk about it. It won't be my decision, but a team decision. Middleweight would make sense because it would be a new start, something new to focus on. A return to light heavyweight would make sense if and when it starts becoming difficult for him to cut weight to middleweight. Prochazka hasn't fought at middleweight during his professional MMA career, which has included stints at heavyweight and openweight. A move to middleweight could potentially set him up for a potential #1 contender fight. The 31-year-old Prochazka is right in the middle of his physical prime, and a move to middleweight could breathe new life into his diverse skill set. Dricus Du Plessis is making it known he doesn't want Khamzat Chimaev mentioned in future UFC middleweight title talks. Khamzat Chimaev was to fight Robert Whittaker in the middleweight main event on Saturday, June 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. However, Khamzat pulled out of the bout due to illness. The undefeated Khamzat Chimaev has not fought since October of last year when he defeated former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman at UFC 294. Dricus Du Plessis, speaking on Submission Radio, shared he'd be intrigued to fight Chimaev. I would love to fight Khamzat. Nobody's beaten him, and he was almost like the boogeyman of this division. But let's be honest, I was a bit disappointed that fight didn't happen. I'm not that surprised, to be honest. I've been on that side of the area of not being able to fight, and it sucks. Right now, it just doesn't even make sense to talk about it. You know, Khamzat Chimaev hasn't fought one single ranked middleweight, not one. And to even put him in that conversation right now seems like we're wasting time talking about it. He's not in the run, and up until he proves that he deserves to be in that run, there's no use in talking about it. Current UFC middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis is set to make his first defense at the UFC 305 headliner on Saturday, August 17th in Perth, Australia, when he takes on former champion Israel Adesanya. Do you agree with Dricus Du Plessis that for now, Khamzat Chimaev's name should remain out of the middleweight title picture? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Daniel Cormier is advising UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones to call out Alex Pereira after he beats Stipe Miocic. Although not yet formally announced, heavyweight champion Jon Jones is expected to make his first title defense against Stipe Miocic at UFC 309 on November 9th in New York. Just this past Saturday saw light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira knock out Jiri Prochazka at UFC 303. Jon Jones has alluded to the fact that he's unsure if he'll retire after his fight with Stipe Miocic, as there are so many options in the UFC at the moment. One of those options is the fact that Pereira has teased moving to the heavyweight division. Daniel Cormier, speaking on his Funky and the Champ show with Ben Askren, shared, "I'll tell you one thing Jones said. Now he might stick around because he goes, the options are looking great." Daniel Cormier had some advice for Jones. Here is what he said. "If I'm Jones, I fight Stipe Miocic, I beat Stipe, and then I call out the UFC to make Pereira go up to heavyweight, knowing that you could take all that thunder because Jones versus Pereira would be a massive payday. Jones is an 800 favorite to fight Pereira and beat Pereira if they were to fight, so it's not a great matchup, but I love Alex, man. It couldn't have happened to a better guy." Askren shared that he believes Jones versus Pereira would look similar to Jones' submission of Cyril Gane at UFC 285. Cormier agrees. Jones fought Gane in March of 2023, and the result was a submission victory for Jones at 204 of round 1. Do you you agree with Daniel Cormier and would like to see Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira in a heavyweight battle in the future? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Today's sports news highlights the top UFC fights ranked by gate revenue, with Conor McGregor firmly at the top. According to recent data, the 5 most lucrative UFC events include several key bouts that drew significant audience interest and achieved substantial financial success. Leading the list is UFC 205, McGregor versus Alvarez, held at Madison Square Garden, which generated an impressive $17.7 million. This event marked a historic moment for the UFC as Conor McGregor became a dual-weight champion. Following closely is UFC 229, McGregor versus Khabib, earning $17.2 million, despite the fight between McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov being marred by post-fight controversies. In third place is UFC 300, Pereira versus Hill, which brought in $16.5 million. The Pereira versus Hill matchup proved to be a surprise hit, resonating strongly with fans worldwide. Fourth on the list is UFC 303, Pereira versus Prochazka, with a gate revenue of $15.9 million. This bout between Pereira and Prochazka further underscored the growing popularity of UFC events globally. Rounding out the top 5 is UFC 264, McGregor versus Poirier, generating $15.7 million. This fight marked the third encounter between McGregor and Poirier and drew immense attention due to its historical significance. The UFC continues to lead the world of combat sports, and these events reflect its impressive growth in popularity and commercial success. McGregor, as one of UFC's biggest stars, continues to dominate the top spots in gate revenue, while other fighters like Pereira and Dustin also stand out for their performances and appeal to the audience. Stay tuned for further developments to see which events will claim the top spots on this prestigious list in the future. In a stunning revelation, MMA superstar Jon Jones has confirmed his long-awaited return to the octagon. Responding to a fervent fan inquiry about his comeback plans, Jones dropped a bombshell with a tweet. Here is what he said. November 9th, Madison Square Garden. I know it seems like a dream, but it's really happening. Fans and pundits alike are already buzzing with excitement over Jones's comeback, which promises to be nothing short of epic. Known for his unparalleled skill and thrilling performances, Jones's return to the UFC stage is set to electrify the world of mixed martial arts. Stay tuned as more details unfold about this eagerly anticipated event at Madison Square Garden on November 9th. MMA enthusiasts, mark your calendars. Jon Jones is back. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Your dedication and support fuel our passion to bring you the latest and greatest in the MMA world. If you enjoyed today's news, please give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow MMA fans. Remember to subscribe to stay in the loop with daily MMA updates. We've got a lot of exciting news, interviews, and analysis coming your way every single day. Your engagement helps us grow and serve the MMA community even better. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of our daily MMA journey.